Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your friendly neighborhood Pokeprof, and welcome back to I Am Groot versus the Black Lantern Corps. Okay, now we're just getting silly. When we last left off, we had actually gotten to the rooftop stages and had gotten a brand new catapult. In this particular instance, it would be the Kernal-pult. Oh, and we have another new zombie. One of them who's actually very, very irritating. I'll be showing him off in just a bit. Alright, so I think we really only need one more plant. Let's do squash. Now I will... just to see just how mean the game starts to get. Giving you much more limited pots here for us to actually use. But one of the actual achievements, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before for the pool levels, but every time there is a special like instance of there being a level that will have a limitation. So for example, here in the rooftop levels, we can't really use the pea shooters that well, simply because, well, you know, with everything at an angle, we have to use the catapults. Well, there's actually an achievement for using by basically being one of these levels without using any of the catapults. Same thing with the pool stages. They actually have an achievement for you being it without, I believe, the pea shooters. It can be quite interesting to actually challenge yourself that way. The only real reason I'm not doing it is because, well, I want to actually be able to have something a little bit more interesting. You know, I want to show off all the plants, and I'm already restraining myself in that fashion. But now I also get to show off the Kernal-pult. The Kernal-pult, in all respects, is the same as the Cabbage-pult, except with one major difference. And hopefully we'll be able to see it with this particular zombie. Yep. It will throw a stick of butter at the zombies, which will freeze them solid. They will actually not be able to move for a good couple of seconds, you know, maybe about like 10 or so. And it does some fairly decent damage. For the most part, you really want to just keep the Kernal-pults in the back, because, well, you know, being able to throw out those butters can just be very useful. So seeing it happen often is pretty good. What I tend to do is I tend to upload a lot on the Kernal-pults and then put the Cabbage-pults in front of them after I've gotten like 2 rows of kernels. Alright, and we're already full up on sunflowers. Wow, that happened a little bit faster than I thought it would. Alright. Okay, so let's start putting up more kernels. Get more of our flower pots up. But yeah, the Kernal-pults will be near invaluable for you, especially once you get a bunch of them, because then you're not having to worry at all in terms of enemies getting to you, because especially if you have 2 and even more often if you have 3, you will just be able to continuously stun enemies. Said, I think the Kernal-pults do actually do a tiny bit less damage than the Cabbage-pults. I'm not 100% certain on that. Brains. Future Prof will probably have already popped up to show whether I'm right or wrong. Alright, let's start getting another row. Oh, we can do another flower here. I don't think this one's gonna survive. No, he's not. So let's do you. Get you up here. And protect you up. Lose a little bit of sun, but I'm able to guarantee us have some safety here. And you may have noticed we actually have not seen the new zombie yet. Well, he should be popping up soon. Also, I gave my zombie here a new look. Attack of the butter! Attack of the butter! Yeah, I think these guys are a little bit weaker overall, simply because they're not doing anywhere near as much. Oh! And there is actually the new zombie of the group. Get to show him off, hopefully. Ah. Well, I got to show him off even though he died. Also, crap. So yeah, the ladder zombies. These zombies can be extremely annoying, especially if you do not kill them fast. What they will do is that they will actually put a ladder down, especially if there is like a tall nut of any kind in front of them, and they'll simply just walk over all your plants. This can make them incredibly dangerous since, well, even other zombies will be able to cross onto this ladder as well. Essentially meaning you will die if you aren't prepared. Let's get him another flower here. But I think at this point in stage, we're pretty well off. You know, between the double chances for butter and our decent damage from the cabbage pults, we should be perfectly fine for the rest of this level. Alright, get a little bit more sun. Yeah, the only thing we really got to worry about at this stage is some of the more durable zombies. Just simply because, you know, our plants here don't attack as fast as pea shooters, if my memory serves. Again, future prof will probably pop up and show if I'm right or wrong. But because of this, we can end up with those instances where, well, a zombie is able to get through just because we're not doing as much damage as we technically should be doing. Oh, come on, you guys can do it. No, not enough to save the cabbage. You know, I got a funny joke in mind. You know what, future prof? You'll probably know what joke I'm talking about. Just put it up here. I don't want to spoil it. It's gonna be a sound clip if you really don't remember this.
Oh, my cabbages!
Alrighty then. Now let's put a little bit more cabbages up. Oh dear. Well, thankfully, I should be perfectly well protected with my butter here. Or maybe I'm not. Pumpkin. Pumpkin, we need you. I heard a gulp. I don't see where it went. Are we good? Okay, it's just these guys now. They're just chomping down on that pumpkin. There's one dead. There we go. So maybe I'm wrong on the ratio of what you should do. Maybe it should be more 2 cabbage, 1 kernel, instead of 2 kernel, 1 cabbage. Anyway. With that, we now get the coffee bean, who is one of the better plants, in my personal opinion. Not because he's actually any useful himself, but, well, as you see here, we have a lot of metal-type zombies. We've got the football zombie, we've got the ladder zombie, and we've got the pogo zombie. And as we've seen so far, we don't have actually that many defenses to try and fight these guys. They're all pretty tanky. Or if they're not tanky, they're fast. So instead, what we can do now, with the coffee bean, we can change all that. So let's get in our catapults. Get the pumpkin, get the coffee bean, and you immediately saw, the moment I chose the coffee bean, everything else lit up. If you couldn't guess what that means, well, you'll see in just a second. I don't need the twin sunflower, really. So yeah, let's get that squash just in case I need something to go squishy squish right this moment. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I do think eventually at one point we get where we actually have only 2 rows of pots. So that can be really, really dangerous for us. Alright then. Oh no. Come on, guys. A little bit more sun. Gonna put a squash down here to keep us protected. Alright. Should be good for now. And I just noticed, ooh, 3 flags on this one. Yeesh. Alright, once we get a full row of sunflowers, we should be good. Yeah, we're good. Alright. So now, after I put another squash up here just to be prepared, because I don't want to chance a catapult at this point. Alright, so now that we've gone and have him, the coffee bean. Coffee beans are a bit of an interesting plant. You can actually only plant them down on sleeping mushroom plants. And if you couldn't guess by the name, the fact that we actually have a mushroom plant selectable now, among other things. Let's actually go and show this off properly now. When we plant the mushroom, it will be completely and totally 100% asleep. But now, once we use the coffee bean, it gets used up, and we now have a usable magnet plant. This is going to be a godsend for us in trying to protect ourselves from, well, anything with metal. And there's quite a lot of enemies with metal in this particular stage. I think we're just... There we go. Now we're good on sun for a while. Almost half tempted to go and use a squash on him. Actually, it looks like I may have been right earlier about it's probably better to use multiple cabbage versus multiple kernel. Because now they're just going through and, you know, taking care of everything. Probably still a good idea to put kernels in the back, though. If only because you want to keep them for when you actually need... you want to keep them available so they have a lot of butter to throw. Alrighty then, let's see now. Get as much as we can as far as our flower pots, because especially at these particular stages in the game, you want to have as many flower pots as possible. If only because with the flower pots you're able to put more plants out and, you know, keep yourself abreast of as many zombies as possible. There we go. Now let's put you up here and start putting flower pots up here. And this is actually the main lane you're going to be wanting to use anything like that's not a catapult. Because it's really these first 5 lines that you ever need to worry about, hey, do I need to put a catapult here or not? So I should probably put the mushroom in a really bad spot, all things considered. I should probably put it more up here. Oh well, what's done is done. Because that's the only disadvantage about using mushrooms during the daytime is, you know, you're paying not only the amount of sun that you have to pay for that particular mushroom, you also have to pay the amount of sun for the coffee bean on top of that. Could equal to you spending a lot of sun and not getting that much back for it. Thankfully, most of the mushroom plants are actually fairly cheap, all things considered, especially if you're going for something like the fume shrooms and whatnot, but you're still having to pay out more than you would otherwise. So something like the scaredy shrooms are absolutely useless during the day. Alright, so let's go ahead and do more cabbages. Actually, are you even close enough, Magnet? Yes, you are. Awesome. That was the one thing I was not 100% certain on. Now, unfortunately, we also get to the part here, well... Yeah, this is the same problem we had before, where I can only do so much with the magnet shroom before I'm just not able to use it as well as you want. So because, well, you're not getting anywhere near... It just doesn't recharge fast enough. So it's like you... Depending on what kind of stage you're going to be dealing with, you might want anywhere from 2 to 3 magnet shrooms. And especially if you've unlocked a golden magnet shroom at this point in time, you might want to use that as well, if only just because the golden magnet shroom will actually go and just get you your money, so you're having to only really focus on the sun. Put all my cabbages up. Hopefully, at this point, I should have more than enough damage to where we're not having to worry about them anymore. There we go. There we go. Get all the sun. As you can see, I've actually got a butt ton of sun now. I'm in no need for it for a while yet. That said, there's still that achievement. I don't really think I'm going to be able to get it here. I would basically need to fill this with twin sunflowers to even have a chance at this stage. I forget if we can actually get it easier in a later stage or not. We'll just have to see what we can do. Now, the one thing that I'm not certain, Future Prof, you'll have to pop up here yet again to help me out. I'm sorry. Sometimes my memory just doesn't want to work. But the one thing I'm not 100% certain on, oh dear. Now, let's just go ahead and go with you. Oh, you went the other freaking way, you son of a... Crud. Now I actually forgot what I was talking about because I was so worried about that damn zombie.
Brains.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say that I wasn't certain on. The one thing I'm not certain on for when it comes to the ladder zombies here, that Future Prof is gonna have to pop up for. I'm not sure if the mushrooms here, the magnet shrooms, will actually pull a ladder that's been on a tall nut.
Brains.
I want to say no, but I cannot say for certain that that would be the case, that they would not do that. I think the magnet shrooms only pull from zombies that are actively using their shields or their protection of some kind. Alright, so let's go ahead. Get as many cabbage pults as possible. Final wave. This is going to be the most dangerous one. And this is honestly the one where I expect us to be starting to lose plants. Ooh, Jesus. Come on, Squash, help me out. There we go. I think we might be in trouble here. Oh, maybe not. Pumpkin should save us. And you did? Come on. Come on, Catapult. Show us your power, Catapult. Yay! Oh, we're here? We're finally frickin' here? I thought this was a heck of a lot earlier. Yep. Oh, we can now play Zen Garden mode. And you know what? Let's actually go check that out before we leave for the day. The Zen Garden. Because we found this watering can, we now have this little Zen garden. Basically, what will happen is that, well, Crazy Dave here will give us a couple of sprouts, and we can now grow plants separate from having to fight zombies. You can go and water them. Cute little mini game. Well, not really mini game. But basically, you can come back to these plants whenever you want, give them a little bit of water. And they'll continually beg you for water for however long you're around. You can just sit here and eventually they'll just keep on, you know, begging for more and more. But what is interesting is when these guys eventually fully grow. Oh, actually, this is the other thing. They'll go and actually beg you for fertilizer at some point. And now, Crazy Dave will actually add that to his little shop here. You can buy not just fertilizer. He'll actually just give us some to start off with. But he'll allow us to buy the fertilizer, which will help our plants grow even faster. He'll give us bug spray that will keep them happy and safe from bugs. He'll sell us the phonograph, which will allow us to play music for our plants. It makes them happy for an entire day. Yes, this is all real time. We also have the gardening glove, which allows us to actually move the plants around. The golden watering can, which allows us to water several plants at once. And we'll actually be able to buy more plants for the Zen garden. So let's go ahead and fertilize these guys. Turn into tiny little plants. And unfortunately, this is all we can do for now for these guys, so we'll have to come back at a later time. I'll be basically checking up on these guys for a while. But you remember how I said there is a good way to actually earn a little bit of extra money in game? These guys are it. Oh. Yep, the Zen Garden is pretty nifty. You can visit any time at the main menu. Oh dear. Yeah, this level. We're going to check this level out next time. So until then, folks, take care.